and this is Nitin Mittal. We just saw a beautiful symphony of art and science. And I'm certainly not going to claim myself to be a ballet dancer by any means, but I'll try to draw out my own symphony as it relates to the world that we live in and the age of AI. What is happening, how to think of it, what is critical, and yes, let's absolutely talk about jobs, impact, implications. So, what are we seeing in the world of AI? Let me kind of crystallize this into three simple things. First, agentic. Second, sovereign. And third, physical AI. And we actually kind of saw some part of physical AI with Dr. Moore. What is agentic? Agentic simply is sophisticated AI programs and models that have agency. What does it mean to have agency? The ability of these sophisticated programs and models to mimic and replicate human cognitive-like functions. Ability to think, ability to reason, ability to judge, and ability to act. Simple fact of intelligence, which has been the prerogative of the Homo sapien race, is now actually transcending into these sophisticated programs, models, and intelligent machines. That's what it means to have agency, and consequently, the advent of agentic AI that is absolutely propelling us into the world of more and more autonomous execution. Sovereign AI. Why is that critical? In my role as the global AI leader for Deloitte, I get the privilege of spending a lot of time with different government officials in various countries, enterprises, CEOs, board members. And a topic that has become absolutely pertinent in today's fragmented geopolitics is the topic of sovereignty. But it's absolutely not necessarily just about data. It's about sovereignty in chips, infrastructure, hardware, models, and applications. Essentially, the entire stack, all the way from chips to data centers, to models, to software, to applications of it. Why is that critical? Many countries, and enterprises for that means, are actually looking to having their own setup in their own jurisdiction and being more and more self-reliant. And it's not just reliance on the infrastructure. Frankly, it's also reliance on sovereign models. Most of the models today are from the Western world, and yes, with a lot of progress in China. But if you think of a country like India, multilingual, diverse, multitude of languages, if India does not have its own sovereign models, we lose the ability to preserve culture, we lose the ability to preserve language, and we lose the ability to serve the citizens and consumers in the language that they're aware of and resonates with them. That's why sovereignty is important, not just about data, but also about the models. And physical AI. This is absolutely expected to be a trend that plays out over the next decade. It is a trend that is showing up in factory floors, warehouses, logistical centers, transportation. It's not just about humanoid robots, those robots that are bipedal in nature. We have just created them because they are an image of ourselves. This is actually about robots that fly, robots that are undersea, robots that drive, robots that are quadruped and are mobile. It is all forms of essentially autonomous mobile devices that are showing up in our physical environment. Those three are the trends that define the age of AI today. But there are implications. And yes, let's talk about one of those implications. Implications on jobs. Agentic AI, in particular, and in the near future, physical AI, will have implications on jobs. And frankly, it could be two sides of the coin. Are there some jobs that are going to be impacted? Sure. Software engineering, customer support, coding, call center, some of those jobs are going to be impacted. If intelligence is transcending the Homo sapien race and intelligent machines are developing agency, it is inevitable that certain jobs are going to get impacted. But I have not yet come across a single job that has been lost to AI. Almost all jobs are impacted by another human being who's figured out how to be proficient with AI and applies it. Coding is a perfect example. The jobs that get impacted are the ones by another human being who uses something called wipe coding and has learned it and is proficient in it and uses it. That's what we end up seeing. But it doesn't necessarily kind of stop there. Here is what I would actually kind of provoke this group and challenge all of us. Is it the last job as we know it, or is it the birth of a new AI economy with jobs that we may not have imagined, jobs that we can imagine, jobs that can be reshaped, and jobs that require reskilling? Let's talk about what it means to be in the new AI economy. Let's take one aspect of it. For all agentic AI is capable of, and the fact that it is starting to create an abundant digital workforce that can provide more and more and more leverage to the human workforce, it requires an awful lot of computing. Where does that come from? AI data centers. Countries around the world are racing, building gigawatt data centers. There's almost 1.7 trillion in committed capex by national governments, enterprises, private equity funds, venture capital, as well as all other forms of money that is actually kind of entering this space. What happens when you set up AI data centers? Construction jobs. Jobs as it relates to managing the AI data center. Jobs as it relates to standing up that AI data center. It gives impetus to the local manufacturing ecosystem. Why? You have to supply the data center, chips, hardware, infrastructure, cables, coolant, plumbing and piping. All of that essentially has to be manufactured. More jobs. What powers the AI data centers? Energy. Investments in energy generation, investments in energy transmission, investments in energy consumption, more jobs. Take every node in that value chain, you have a multiplier effect in terms of the jobs that created. You take all the nodes in totality across the entirety of the value chain, and over time, those multipliers compound. And the compounding effect has the potential to create hundreds of millions of jobs, not displace just a couple of 10, 20, 30 million jobs. That's how we have to think of the new AI economy. The government of India has a number of programs that many of you are aware of that provide the basic structure and scaffolding for society. But the onus is on society to take it forward, to capitalize on it. Example, in the automotive sector, where India could be setting up 5G and early 6G smart corridors, as well as smart cities, for the purposes of testing, planning, simulating, testing autonomous vehicles, autonomous transportation, smart cities, smart grids. Pharmaceutical industry, You can set up biotech farms. You no longer require white lab coat scientists. What you do require is new jobs where software engineers can use wipe coding to simulate protein synthesis, can simulate DNA, can simulate cellular binding, all done in front of a computer screen. New jobs created in biotech. We can keep going on, but the key is the onus is on us to capitalize. And if I were to leave this group with one challenge, collectively for all of us, that challenge is, instead of being concerned about the impact on jobs, instead of thinking about the last job, let's actually be cognizant and let's be thoughtful about how can we be investors in AI, how can we be creators of AI, and how can we be consumers of AI. That would help the country essentially gain momentum and accelerate us towards the new AI economy. Thank you.
Like I said, AI was listening. Ayush was listening as well. Nitin, should I go louder with the clapping, or are you guys going to do it for me?
Thank you.
What an absolutely fascinating chat. Now I am here to test you on AI. No, I cannot do that. I do not have the locus standi to do that. What I want to do is understand the million-dollar question, or the billion-dollar question, or should I say the companies that you've been consulting. Some of them have multi-trillion-dollar valuations. So the multi-trillion-dollar question, is AI taking our jobs away? Is it taking my job away today?
Well, we tend to focus on basically our friends, our family, our co-workers, and our colleagues. Can some of those jobs be impacted? Yes, but that's in our consciousness. What we don't focus on is what I was kind of articulating. Everything that happens where jobs are being created in the new AI economy. Let's focus on that.
From Bangalore all the way to Cerebral Valley in San Francisco, the conversation with VCs, founders, AI experts like you has really been a polarized conversation. On one side, you have, like I said, a hope-based narrative. Then there is a fear-based perspective. It's a fine line to balance these out when it comes to AI, because like you said during your presentation, and I was taking notes, is the fact that actually an AI economy would lead to probably 500 million more jobs here in India, because we're sitting here in New Delhi at Bharat Mandapam at the NDTV World Summit. It could actually be beneficial for all of us sitting in this room. That's something I want to get out of the way right at the start.
Absolutely. And in fact, I'll be provocative over here. What could be impacted? If we perform our jobs, go home, and spend time on Instagram Reels. Yeah, we'll get impacted at some point of time. Rather, if we perform our jobs, go home, have the curiosity, and learn vibe coding, or learn how to essentially use agents, or, for that matter, build agents and become creators in the new economy, we are not going to get impacted.
Since this masterclass is also becoming a little bit of a myth buster, the conversation in the tech world has always been about AGI. Sam Altman says something, Elon Musk says something else, and then Jensen comes to India and then he's also talking about artificial superintelligence. AGI was the first level, now we're talking about ASI, when some of these machines that you saw on the stage actually become more competent at some of these intelligence things that he was talking about than humans themselves. Now, this is not a fear anymore. The reason I want to ask you this, Nitin, is AGI, ASI, if the right sort of controls, privacy, security, right, some of the biases are not eliminated, is it a worrisome future for all of us? Because things are moving at a lightning pace.
Well, even the steam engine was worrisome 250 years back. Yet, the steam engine, which was criticized in those times, and the criticism was, and I'll kind of use the analogy of those times, if a man, and the concept in those times was kind of a man, so I will apologize to the women in the room, but the criticism was that if a man can't essentially earn his wages or whatever they earned through a hard day's labor and through sweat and tears, what value is of that man. That was the criticism of a steam engine, because it was seen as taking away the value of a person, the job that they performed, the labor that they undertook. But it was mechanical, it was human labor. AI is no different, except that it is cognitive, it's not mechanical. We have a fear anytime there is something new, anytime we have to change, anytime we have to adapt, anytime when the future could be uncertain. But if we embrace the uncertainty, if we design the future, not just basically fall into it through hapstance, and if we are thoughtful about what that new economy could be, fear changes into hope. And the constraints that we imagine become opportunities. And impact on jobs creates new sectors, new avenues, and new basically kind of vistas for all of us to undertake in the economic miracle that is yet to come.
I appreciate that, because at the NDTV World Summit, we are discussing some of the world's most pressing problems, but we're also trying, via these conversations, to come up with some solutions. Maybe not panaceas, but solutions nevertheless. Coming back to that, now let's come to one solution out there, Nitin, because what I understand is that I should not be as worried about AI taking my job, but I should be worried about someone who understands AI or who embraces AI who might take my job away.
Yes. That is an important topic. More than basically worrying about AI, it's actually worrying about our fellow co-workers, those who may be adapting, those who may be accelerating their learning, and those who are displaying the curiosity to actually continuously improve. That is where we are going to essentially see people who don't adapt, people who are sitting back, people who may not necessarily kind of demonstrate the necessary curiosity or take the leap forward in reskilling. They could likely get displaced. No different, by the way, than any other technological revolution that took place. With the advent of the PC, who got impacted? Typists. If they had not adapted and learned the word processor, they would have been out of jobs.
You spoke of a technology revolution. The AI revolution is what we've been talking about on all our shows here across the NDTV network. And what I want to understand from you there, Nitin, is that if we zoom into India, right over here, one concern was, and I've discussed this before when Jensen was here on his India trip as well, that India sort of, in the previous tech revolutions, took a sort of a back office-like approach. How do we ensure in India that we do not become the back office of the AI revolution? We augment it, we participate, we engage, and we are enriched in the process.
So I'll maybe respond to that from the vantage point of actually spending a lot of time in different regions, countries, continents, and with and probably more Fortune 500 companies than I can remember, to be honest. Here's what I would say. India has natural advantages. It has natural advantages as it relates to scale of talent. It has natural advantages as it relates to thirst, entrepreneurship, dynamism that leads to innovation. It also has natural advantages in application of technology, including AI, because of the services industry that we actually have. But the question is, how do you take advantage of those natural advantages and go to the next level? Next level may actually require large-scale reskilling, investment in R&D. Just applying frontier models, as an example, may not be sufficient. Building sovereign frontier models may also be required. And it is very likely also going to challenge us to be creators and producers of AI products, not just applying products of others.
Since we are streaming this live across all our channels and on the NDTV network, I'm going to request you to come a little bit closer to me so that we don't have to use AI lighting in post-production. But what I will tell you, Nitin, is that when you talk about sovereign AI, these are fancy terms that the tech world uses, and we have it across big tech and big AI now. But tell me, when we talk about sovereign AI, there have been attempts over here in India to come up with certain solutions. Do you think that we need a far more nuanced, robust approach? Maybe more involvement from the public sector? Where are we lacking? Is it a lack of leadership? Is it a lack of intent? Is it a lack of scale or talent?
I'm not necessarily sure that it's just about the public sector. At the end of the day, it may be the collaboration between public and private sector. And I think we have to sort of be cognizant of that. No one party, doesn't matter kind of how much money the government may even put in, is going to be able to solve this by itself. It has to be done in partnership. There are many advantages that the government kind of brings. Yes, it can essentially kind of access semiconductor chips. It can set up, like what India is doing, semiconductor fabrication units. It can focus on R&D. It can democratize compute. It can invite entrepreneurs to actually partake in that compute and become creators and producers of AI. But then, private sector also has to kind of step up in terms of the facilities that are created, in terms of extending the government's job skilling program and making it available to not only their workers, but society and community at large. It also kind of requires essentially thoughtfulness in terms of what products are being designed, what products are being developed, how are you scaling those products, and where is the money kind of going? Should the money kind of be going for last mile delivery of food? Or should VCs actually be investing in physical AI, autonomous systems, next-gen transportation, or even essentially kind of how enterprises could be revolutionized through the abundance of a digital workforce and agentic products that could actually come out of India?
I just hope and that in India we have some level of ADAS, level 2 coming in some of our vehicles, but every engineer that I speak to in the Bay Area, even if they are of Indian origin, really smile at the challenge of working out autonomous systems, Waymos and robo-taxis here in Delhi and Mumbai traffic. But I'll take your word on that. Another thing I did want to ask you was, when sovereign AI platforms and ecosystems are being built, there is a concern that it needs to be a bottom-up approach here, fresh, with a clean slate from India. And I'll tell you why. Because when the big tech companies, the Googles, the Microsofts, and the Apples, and the Samsungs of the world, have largely been building or manufacturing intelligence, it's been from the prism of the West. Yeah. Here in India, with the breadth, the width, the scale, the diversity here in India, don't you think we need to genuinely look at this with all the nuances involved?
Well, let's take one example to explore that, okay? Waymo. If anyone has been in San Francisco, and I just took a 17-and-a-half-hour flight directly from San Francisco, but if anyone has been in San Francisco, you can request in Waymo. You can sit on the Waymo. It'll navigate through certain kind of roads, maybe not the entirety of the city. Eventually, it will be there. And you can, in the comfort of a driverless autonomous vehicle, get to your destination. Does anyone actually believe that Waymo will actually work on Indian roads? Probably not.
There's one very brave person in the last row, but that's not a paid actor. It's a very adventurous tech enthusiast sitting, and I laud you for that.
We should test it out. But here's what I would say. Why should we talk about would Waymo be applicable on Indian roads? Should we be talking about what we should be making in India, designing in India, building in India, testing in India as part of smart corridors or smart parks that could be set up for all kinds of testing of autonomous transportation, autonomous vehicles, autonomous systems, and autonomous, basically, even traffic management in smart cities. Testing it in these smart corridors and smart parks before it is rolled out at scale in India. Think in India, design in India, make in India, test in India, deploy in India. Why we should be talking about Waymo?
Absolutely. We have a brilliant workforce here. We have a brilliant set of Indians around the world building some of these systems. With what's happening around the world, Nitin, and you travel a lot with tariffs and trade wars, there is a certain reverse brain drain that's taking place as well. How much do you think India would benefit from that reverse brain drain, giving some of these autonomous systems that you're talking about are actually, well, designed by fellow Indians around the world?
Well, I'm not sure we'll have enough time to get into tariffs and trade, and it may not even be appropriate to get into a conversation of this nature. So we'll leave that for many others through the course of the day today. But here's what I would actually kind of say. My personal belief is that a brain drain from one region to the other is not necessarily going to happen just because of trade and tariffs. Yeah, I mean, the geopolitics of today is kind of fragmented, but cycles change, politics changes, and geopolitics will kind of also evolve. So that's difficult to kind of predict. What is actually more important for a country like India? Setting up the systems. Setting up the systems for ease of business, ease of entrepreneurship, ease of venture capital funding, ease of actually designing, making, and deploying in India. At the end of the day, we got to look at ourselves as a country, what we can do, what we can enable, how to make it easier, how to enable it, how to accelerate it. That would actually kind of bring in a lot many of, let's say, the qualified talent that is very much kind of requisite beyond just what we have in India. That's what I would focus on.
You mentioned reskilling and upskilling being imperative to the AI revolution, especially here in India. But that requires the reluctant types to unlearn and then learn again, because that really is a change of our rote learning education system, Nitin. I must say this, because what you essentially need to know now is not the answers, but how to ask the right questions. Am I right?
That's correct. Yes. Just seeking an answer is no longer that critical. Asking the question is more. You can actually seek an answer very easily through ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity AI, whatever your favorite tool is. You can spend 15 seconds and get whatever answer you're looking for. Asking the right question, being curious, being thoughtful, and instead of just looking at an instantaneous response, actually evaluating it, reasoning it, rationalizing it, and expanding the aperture of an answer that's been provided by AI. If AI is replicating us, we should not be replicating AI. If AI is providing an answer, we should be asking the question. If AI is articulating a thought or an insight, we should be expanding it into what can be done with it, what ought to be done with it, how to take it forward. And if AI is giving you essentially a blueprint of something that one can act on, which is very, very possible now with agentic AI, we should be designing the systems to make that blueprint a reality. Don't replicate AI. Take a leap forward.
How do we ensure that some of these LLMs, and you mentioned some of these very popular platforms like ChatGPT, or what Perplexity is doing, or what Gemini is doing, especially now with video generation, a lot of my production team, it'll pique their interest and also worry them a little bit, given what Sora 2's come up with right now, given what Gemini is doing as well. But how do we ensure, as citizens of the world, that we can hold these tech platforms and companies to account, right? And ensure that they aren't using some of the publicly available data that we have sort of without our consent put out over there to generate these images, to generate these videos. I mean, there's no real laws out there. There's no real control. So how do we ensure that this structure, this is put in place?
Yeah. I mean, this is exactly kind of where governments can play a pivotal role, specifically as it relates to regulations, guidelines, and also kind of the norms that are established. The key is this. Do we need to progress on regulations for accountability? Yes.
Okay.
But the regulations should be balanced so that they don't throttle accelerated innovation. As long as regulations are not throttling accelerated innovation, but rather focused on accountability across the entire value chain in a society, it would actually help and spur us getting towards and literally accelerating towards the new AI economy that I was mentioning.
You've also written a fabulous book, All In on AI. Congratulations on that release.
Thank you.
And just going through it, I wanted to understand some of these top corporations that have gone all in on AI with a sense of urgency, with a sense of alacrity, have they benefited I'll give you two examples. Microsoft under Satya Nadella went all in, got the OpenAI partnership going, whereas an Apple or a Google had a wait and watch approach, right? In different stages and versions. Is that sense of urgency, that sense of alacrity needed in the world of AI from these corporations? Is that something that you allude to in the book as well?
Yeah. No, I spend a lot of time with senior executives and board members, and here's what I would say. Does everyone have that same sense of urgency? Not really. But is there actually more awareness to actually be thoughtful, awareness to act, awareness to figure out how and where to proceed? Absolutely yes. And what we actually kind of tend to see in these enterprises, there are very, very few, if any, that are talking about this is not relevant to us. What they're talking about is how to make it relevant, how to get the necessary return, how could it actually not only help from an efficiency and a productivity perspective, but from growth opportunities that actually exist, and where could we actually accelerate innovation. Those conversations are happening. Those conversations were not taking place 2 years back. And that is where the beauty is. If the conversations are happening, conversations result in action. Action will result in progress. And progress will help societies, enterprises, and countries finally kind of crack the code and open up all kinds of new sectors and new economic opportunities in the new age of AI.
We have a couple of minutes to go. I just want to understand as well, and I'm asking this as a conduit for the audience, if we have not embraced AI yet, and it does worry some of us, or we do think that our privacy is at risk, a very elementary question. I'm guessing all enterprises and big founders started with this question at the beginning as well. What are one or two practical steps that we can adopt to maybe, well, get in on this AI wave revolution, so to speak, and generally not get wiped away by AI?
Maybe 3 things I'll kind of articulate. First, stop experimenting. Literally, stop experimenting. There's enough experimentation, proof of concepts, and all kinds of basically kind of prototypes that have been built. Rather, pick an area, pick a function, pick a process, go all in. Go all in where, how, and when can you apply AI. Not to the existing process, the existing workflow, or the existing function, but by reimagining it. That's the first thing I would do. Second, strive towards scale. The benefit of AI is not going to come by just taking a proof of concept and applying it. The benefit of AI is ultimately going to come from scale. Scale and ubiquitous application of it in all kinds of reimagined processes, reimagined functions, and reimagined workflows. And the third thing, absolutely focus on governance. In an organization, an enterprise, which is full of human workers and human employees, we have governance, we have rules, we have HR. AI is no different. Do not think of AI as just a technological revolution. Think of AI as a diverse silica-based workforce. We have a carbon-based workforce. We are now seeing a silica-based workforce. You need rules. You need governance. You need the HR equivalent for that silica-based workforce. Those are the 3 things that I would articulate, where to start and how to think.
Nitin, what an absolute masterclass in the world of AI. The audience is smiling, they're awake, they don't need caffeine. AI has done the trick. Ladies and gentlemen, Nitin Mittal.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can I request you to stay on stage? We want to obviously express a token of our gratitude. Thank you for making the long trip here, and we can definitely catch up on the jet lag as well. Thank you so much.